I don't know. It looks well. Let's keep an eye on that one. Let's see how that plays out. Gents only in charting. Yep, yep. Let's keep an eye. Let's keep an eye on that, Al. Let's see how that looks. That looks out of place. So let's see. Whole thing. All right. So futures jumped. Futures kind of bumped from. I don't know what caused the futures to push up. Technicals looks like it's the technicals. And yesterday night we were kind of looking for this thing to come back in. It did come back in, kind of pushed up. All of that, fair enough. And I think after the New York manufacturing data, this thing pushed down and it came right back into the support. My expectation is for an ephemeral bounce, which we are getting right now. And if this breaks down here, this has been taking this has been supported by the 50 and 200, so expecting a bounce. After that bounce, if it does in fact break here, then we're looking for a push into 4,000 again, and that should be supported on the 1 hour chart as well. So yesterday night this was being supported somewhere around here. Where is that? Where is that? I think yesterday night this is what happened. This is while we were charting. Right? This is what happened. Then a push up and then got pushed down. I don't know why this push down was, mostly because of over the China session or the Asian session. This had effect. So I think that's the reason it pulled down and bounce off of that. Pretty decent bounce here, all the way to this morning 8:30. After the data came in, we pushed down. My expectation is to kind of come down a bit and test the mean here, 4009, and most likely push down into 4000s right about here. So that's what my expectation is out of the futures. And if it starts to push down, we are looking for break below 4004 and probably push down into 4000. We'll take a look. If it breaks here 4004, then into 4000. If 4000 breaks, then we're looking for 3994. Not plotting anything below that right now, but there is room to the downside. Speaking longer term, there is room to the downside because Apple bounced off of, it did not touch the 100-day moving average. So I'm expecting there is, it has to go back. Even if it doesn't go back down to that, 100-day moving average, uh, I'm still in the camp that it needs to go back and test that level again. So futures, this is the range that it's going to be, I think for now, 40.35 to the upside and about 39.85 to the downside. So that's how I want to play that. Right about here, 40.14. This is my base case to the upside, and 39.85 is my base case to the downside. Rather here, 39.89 is my base case to the downside. And beyond that, if it clears there, then we're looking for a push into 4082. 4082 is a number that I'll be watching. It seemed to have some sort of importance that I think the uh, right about, where is that? I don't know why I was looking for that number. Yeah, I think this line right here, the 100 moving day average on the weekly, that's the key number that we are watching. On the regular candle, that is sitting at about 40.53. Let's round that up at 40.50. That's the number I'll be watching for the futures to the upside. And if it in fact doesn't, go up there and starts to break below it, then we are looking for a push all the way into 39.67. If it breaks below 39.67, then we're looking for 39.50. For now, this is the chart that I'm going by, the 1 hour chart. So if it actually starts to push higher from here, then I'm looking for a hit of 40.35. And if it actually starts to come back in, then I'm looking for 4,000 first, then push below 39.89. That's how I'm looking to play that. If that breaks below that, then 39.83 and 39.79. This should be a good bounce spot, very good bounce spot. 39.72 is a very good bounce spot. So this is my good to have to the downside. 39.70 is my good to have to the downside. And Apple, and everybody knows that this is the line in the sand for Apple, 143.76. That's my good to have for the downside. Uh, am I playing it that way? Uh, no, this is to keep an idea. This is to have an idea, and you need to have this at the back of your mind that there is downside to the Apple, and this will be tested again. If it breaks below, there are bright chances that it's going to go down to 137 and test that number again. However, I'm not playing Apple on this level. I'll leave this to the institutions. I will be playing Apple, and in the meanwhile, so if Apple pushes to the upside, this is my base case, 148.59. Uh, and again, this is again on the daily time frame. So if it starts to push up, it needs to go into 148.59. That clears there. We are looking for 151. I wouldn't be playing Apple here as well. I'd be going down on my 1 hour chart, my anchor chart. This is where I'll be looking for how the trend would start or how the trend would continue. I'm seeing this RSI average continue to move down here. So I'll be following this line. And if if I see average, the green line start to curl back up and then move up, then I'll probably change my stance and start to look to the upside. So to the upside, this is my on the 1 hour, this is where I want to see Apple 148, and that is exactly my base case on the 1 hour. And this is the chart I operate on. So here is my base case. If it clears there, then I'm looking for a push into 149.56. To the downside, my base case is here, 146.16. Should that break, I'm looking for 145.21 and below there. If it breaks below 120, 145.15, we have a good shot at 144.50. And if it breaks below 144.50, then we are dependent on this line again, 143.86. We're looking for a break below that line. And I'll keep on updating everything as the session unfolds. VIX. This guy is pretty critical. I mean, I think the upside on VIX is kind of petered out for now. I think we want to see VIX continue to push down. Actually, I want to see VIX break below 28.68 and then push into here 28.09. So this is on the higher time frames. Let's go down on the lower time frames. 1 day is still pointing down. The average is still pointing down. Perhaps breather or a push up from here. But then I still think that VIX needs to break below its mean and start to push down into 27.90. That's how I want to see VIX perform. And these zones for VIX are kind of very formidable support here. The 21, the mean, and previous super trends here. So all of this is pretty supportive for mean. However, I want to see ideally the technicals. Per the technicals, it says that it needs to push down all the way till here, 27.79. A break below there would be nice, but for now, I think 27.94. What number is this? 27.70. So let's say 27.70 to 27.75. This is where I would want to see a big push down. So if that happens, then we'll have a rally on our hands. So looking at VIX, uh, VIX, if VIX continues its push down, then we could look for upside, and we could actually look to play some high beta names, Tesla, Amazon, and perhaps something like a Snow that I'm looking at today, and Adobe. Those are the names that I'm watching today. Adobe looks like a very good one to play, simply because it has gotten oversold, and we might get a decent bounce out of it. Even if not a decent bounce, we can get, look to capture at least a couple of dollars out of it. Again, VIX, this was getting oversold, and this got worked out. It resolved itself and starting to come back in. That's what I want to see around with VIX. Gets oversold, and clears that oversold conditions and start to push down. And that's what I want to see continuing throughout the day for VIX. And this is again the 1 hour chart, my anchor chart. On the anchor chart, it is still following the downtrend. So I'm okay with that. And I'll be monitoring VIX here. Right now, it is kind of trying to push up. And if it starts to go into the mean and crosses the mean, that's when I'll take it seriously again. 29.22. Right now, it is trying to hit 29.16 and then perhaps 29.22. If it clears above 29.22, I'll look for a push into this number. And this should act as out here 29.34. This should act as serious resistance for VIX. We talked about Apple and SPX. Let's watch SPX. Whoop. All right, let's get into SPX. So this is the chart, 1 hour chart, and about 40.35. We got stopped here and pushed down from there. And I'm expecting a hit of this number again. So 40.35, 40.36 should be my base case. And I want to see this get tested again right about here. And that would happen if VIX can clear, VIX can continue its push down right into this number, right? This is the 1 hour, this is the 15-minute chart. I would want to see if VIX come back into this number about 28.90, then break below that. If it starts to break below 28.90, then I'm pretty sure SPX will push into 40.36 and start to push above that. It will try to break this number, 40.35, and will start to push higher. That's what we want to see, VIX versus SPX on the day's range. So that's my upside. And to the downside, if it starts to push below 4,000, which is right about here, the 8, a test of 8 on the 1 hour. If it breaks below there, then I'm looking for a push into 39.87. I'm pretty sure it will break. Then we are looking for a push into 39.67. This is my good to have. And so that would mean that SPY would probably push into 398 and then below into 396. So let's keep an eye on that. On the daily, SPX still looking good to the upside. So most likely I'll be keeping, I'll be looking out for entries to the upside. However, it is hitting its 8, and if you see this thing, which is the RSI, it shot up straight like that. So that is, that means that it will get exhausted pretty soon. We don't want to see that kind of stuff. It's like, are there any ladies here? So yeah, I don't want to use that expression, but you see this thing, the faster it moves to the upside, and then you would expect, you could expect it to come back down really fast. So uh, it should move a little slow and little. If it's slant right here, then it's good, and we could expect a long, this to go long for a little bit more. And so I'm expecting a sort of a breather, then to move higher. It is hitting the 8, and if it clears uh, this number on, where is that number? Right here. So 40.35, if it clears 40.35, then we are looking for a push into right here, this number, 40.35. If it clears 40.35, then we are looking to push into 40.42. If it in fact does clear the 8 on the daily, then we are looking for a push into 41.31. I'm looking at, I'm bypassing this level because I will be updating this level to you guys all over the voice, right? So there's a very good chance if it enters that, if it breaks above that 40.36 number and actually breaks above 40, this number here. So if it breaks above this line here, 40.41, 40.42, then we have a good shot at 40.68 or 40.72. So I will be updating this number over the voice as the session unfolds. And if in fact if it can clear 4073, if Apple starts to rally, then we are looking for a push into most likely 4100. Am I plotting that right now? No. But if it starts to clear 4043 or something, then we will seriously look into 4073 and beyond. But as we speak, VIX is trying to push up, and let's see how VIX behaves at 2916. I would want to see a reject ideally. And so that's my upside to the SPX. And why is my here? Yeah, now to the downside, if it starts to, yeah, we did the downside as well, right? So if it starts to push below 4,000, 4,000 is my base case. If it starts to push below 4,000, 3987 is what we're looking for. If it breaks below there, then we are looking for 3967. That's how I want to see that. However, uh, this is uh, this is where things are looking different. IXIC Nasdaq is what would be where the action would be most likely, and IWM. And before I move into something else, I want to go look at 10-year. This is what I want to look at. And most likely this is where the rally is coming from for tech. The tech is pricing in a push down on the 10-year, which I believe is not out of the question. On the weekly time frame, it is kind of giving us all the signals that it's going to come down, and the only thing that is holding up is the 8 or the 5 here on the daily 2.88. If it breaks below that, then we are looking for a push into 2.